.37 style rifle. Inside were also 3 women who had been taken hostage during the robbery. 2 were employees. The third was a customer whose 12-year-old daughter was waiting outside the bank when the robbery occurred. There were 3 guys.
Intro now. Hello folks, my name is Brett Smith and I'm here at the Bigfoot Cigar Lounge with my good personal friend Harrison, owner and operator of Bigfoot Cigar Lounge, located here in historic downtown Jefferson, Texas. This is episode 001 of the Guardian's Lounge. It is currently storming its ass off with Hurricane Beryl coming into the Gulf Coast of Texas. We're up here in the northeastern part of Texas, just below Texarkana. So we're getting a little bit of rain today. We figured there was no better time than now to smoke a cigar and do a little video. Harrison, you got anything to add?
It's always a good day to smoke a cigar.
Or 2.
Or 35.
Yeah, just don't tell your wife. Yeah, that's why I'm not allowed to charge accounts up here. So, first video, we're going to be discussing how Harrison got into being a cigar shop owner, and lights are flickering. Yay! And the premise and the purpose of this channel. So, would have been the first of 2024. Earlier this year, I pitched you the idea of doing a podcast, and you told me you weren't going to do it, and I told you we were going to figure it out.
Here it is.
So, I guess we start with the stick that we're smoking, because I guess we're kind of mirroring a couple of other cigar podcast channels type deals. The stick that we're smoking today is the CAO Fasa. We always call it
Fasa Sola.
Fasa Sola. We've always called it the Orange Band CAO. A great little stick. We smoked it, a month or 2 ago. Just picked it up at the cigar shop there in Longview and just absolutely loved it. So with Harrison's vast collection in this room behind us in the humidor room, he picked up a box and set it out as a cigar of the month. Those of us who have a membership to the Bigfoot Cigar Lounge get 1 or 2 free cigars a month. And this just happened to be July's cigar of the month. One of my favorites. I've smoked it, 4 or 5 times now, and still love coming back. And so, what drew your attention to the Fasa Sola as far as the CAO?
It was a newer release. I think it came out first of the year. I'm a big fan of CAO. They've really got some good cigars going the last couple of years. Just a very different looking cigar band. It's very shiny. And I'm always looking for newer stuff to put in the cigar of the month. So.
And I tell you, I really loved it. CAO has been doing things differently with their bands here late. You know, I remember a time when the CAO bands were kind of out there, had a lot, really wild bands going on, and then they kind of reeled it in a little bit for some more classic looking bands. They still added that touch of uniqueness, like that half moon or crescent moon shape cut out. They also have a white band version that I really enjoyed too. But so can you give me some stats on this cigar as far as origin, binder, filler?
Yeah, so I was looking it up because I couldn't actually remember. Has a Honduran, Loncho San Augustine wrapper, so a Honduran wrapper, and the Fasa Sola. Oh boy, should have read this first.
Tell you what, though. Shit. Yeah, well, you know how it is. I tell you, it's dark and it's got a dark. It's called a medium body. I'm here to tell you, it's more medium, leaning a little more towards heavy, and it's got a lot of spice to it that I really like.
It's a good little cigar.
I mean, I prefer that Colorado sun-grown, that kind of half step to the right towards Maduro sun-grown, and leading into Maduro's. So I really appreciate a cigar that's got some spice in it or a little bite back. One of my favorite sticks is that my father,
Antilles.
the Antilles. That Antilles, not the Maduro. The Maduro is good. It's got a little heavier, but I really like that plain Antilles. It's more of that cinnamon baking spice to it. But this has got a real peppery spice.
Here we go.
All
So
right.
that's a Honduran wrapper with a Cameroon binder, and then fillers from the Dominican Republic and Esteli, Nicaragua.
It's a nice little sound.
Yeah.
And it's got an oily wrapper to it.
Oh, very old.
It cut really well. We just lit them up, 10 minutes ago now?
Yeah.
We're still in that first third. Any notes you're catching on the first third?
It's very creamy. It's very smooth and creamy cigar. A little bit of, I guess, cedar in there. But it's just very mellow and smooth. A little bit of spice.
Yeah, it's a little
Not too
touch
nothing
of spice.
crazy.
Yeah, it's not like a bite you.
Yeah.
But no, and I always found it interesting. Like you said, it's got that creamy smoke. It's almost like what they call like a chewy smoke to it. And I always felt funny because it's got a creaminess in the taste, but it's also got that little pepper. So I mean, it reminds me of like a Cajun, like
Creole
yeah, like a
spice.
Creole spicy like chicken Alfredo.
Yeah.
It's got that creaminess, that
Smooth,
spice,
spicy.
smooth. Dude, I love it as like a midday, like right in the afternoon, first getting home style stick.
And for like $6.99, you can't.
You can't beat it. Like locally, it's here it's $6.99 a stick. You just can't beat that for a good stick. And I mean, it's a Toro, so it's getting a good. You're getting a good hour and a half smoke out of it.
Yeah.
I just absolutely love this stick. It's a great, what I would call a go-to. I rank the CAO Fasa Sola as a number 2, if not a number 1, just because of the price point and the taste. So you can't really go wrong.
Yeah. While we're on it, do we want to talk about the ranking system so they don't confuse people?
Yeah, we can talk about the ranking system. So, Harrison, how long have we been smoking together now? 3 years? 2-3 years?
Yeah. Going on 3 years, I guess.
I know since the beginning of 2024, it's been 4 times a week.
Yeah. A little more.
Sometimes less, sometimes more. Wednesdays are normally when we smoke 5 or 6. Yeah, we get a little expensive on Wednesdays, but hey, it is what it is. Not going to smoke terrible tobacco. So, in the last 2 years, Harrison and I have come up with a ranking system that generally covers everything. And it's influenced by availability, price points. The easiest way to explain it is it's 1 through 5, and it's influenced by several other different factors. But some of the first ones are availability, how often you can get it, price point, whether it's a cheap stick, what I would call a budget stick, or what we would call a budget, somewhere between $6 to $10,
Yeah.
$11, and then from 11 on up to some of those extremely ridiculous price cigars. So, like, our ranking system starts with number 1. And the number 1 is I'm gonna buy it by the box.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it on hand. I've got a box of them tucked back in here in his humidor room. I've got a box tucked back in my humidor at home. I always keep them on hand, and I will smoke them every day if I had the option. Number two, I think, number two, go ahead.
It's it's a good cigar. You enjoy it, but either because of price or it's just not your favorite cigar. You're not going to smoke them on the daily. You would keep some in your humidor, but not necessarily buy a box of them at a time.
Yeah, if they're in the shop, I'm kind of running low.
Yeah, you pick a couple up here.
5, 6 of them, because I'm going to smoke them, one every other weekend, or when I'm just feeling kind of different, I'm going to snatch one up. Number three is the by far widest category we have, and it's got a nickname, and we call it the stick. It's a stick that's kind of there's nothing too great about it. There's some good things, there's some bad things. If someone gave you this stick to smoke, you would be happy to smoke it, but you're not buying them for yourself as far as keeping them on hand.
Not going out of your way to get them.
Yeah, you're not going to, keep 5 or 6 of them in your humidor, but you may smoke one every once in a while because it's Number 4, why don't you tell them about number 4?
Number 4 would be a cigar you don't necessarily care for, but has some redeeming qualities to it. Whether that's flavor or it might be a really cheap cigar, but it's just not something you're going to want to smoke. If somebody gives it to you, you're like, thanks, I'll smoke it.
I'll smoke it if somebody gives it to me.
I'm not going to go out of my way to buy it.
Yeah, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to, if I find it in the shop, I'm not buying it. But if I'm sitting in the lounge and somebody wants to, give me a stick, I'll take it and I'll smoke it just out of pure respect. But it's not something I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And then, why don't you tell them about number 5, the absolute, the last ranking that we have?
Number 5 is reserved for a cigar you hate, that you would put out halfway through because it's that bad. There's not a lot of number 5s.
Oh no,
but they do exist.
Maybe not for you. There's several that I wouldn't smoke. I don't mean to be disrespectful. Nothing against those brands, and I don't have the time or the inclination to name them, just out of respect to them. But there are definitely cigars that if you gave me, I would say thank you. I would put them in my box. I would bring them back to the shop, and I would put them in the take one, leave one box, and think, hey, maybe somebody else likes them. Never. Would not smoke them. You couldn't give me them. I would give them away.
Yeah.
And that's our number 5, the absolute will not smokes. So throughout these upcoming videos, you'll hear Harris and I give them rankings. And, as we continue, we'll continue to discuss the rankings. You will hear a lot of number 3s, just the way it is. Neither one of our palates Harrison's palate's more developed than mine, but we have different, we have different leaning.
Yeah.
Harrison, you really enjoy those dark, heavy Maduros, the Oscuro Maduros, and you would smoke the Maduros at 3 p.m. and just completely freight train it out to the end of the night.
Oh, yeah.
I like a lot of spice during the day, and then as it gets dark, I like to lean into the Maduros. So we run them for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you'll see a lot of 3s as we kind of carry on.
Yeah. Majority of stuff ends up being a 3. And then
Some are 2s.
ranging up into 2s.
Yeah.
Every once in a while we'll catch a 1.
For sure. And that's it. So a lot of where we hang out is 3s and 2s, man. It is what it is. We're just a couple of guys creeping through the humidor, just trying to find what our new rotation is.
Mm-hmm.
Top of the list right now for you is what? Give me 2 or 3 number 1s.
2 or 3s up there.
Yeah, like 2 or 3
Number
examples
ones.
of number 1s.
Oh. The Tabernacle by Foundation. It's a really good one that I try and keep on hand.
Yeah, you order like 4 boxes at a time.
Trying to think what I was sitting
Oh, yeah.
around in the humidor right now.
You like
Oh,
smoking?
it was good.
Oh yeah.
But I have a hard time getting them, so they bumped down to a 2 just for availability's sake.
Hate that.
But these CAOs are creeping into a number 1 right now. So it's a good,
Dude,
like I said, especially middle of the day,
middle of the day,
early afternoon.
price point,
Price points great.
availability. It's
And
checking
yeah.
all the boxes.
Yeah, the construction's pretty good on them.
Yeah, man. I
I
mean,
think you had a little tiny crack.
yeah, I had a
few
crack
years.
in mine, but it's smoking through it
Smoked
like
through
a
it pretty
champ.
good,
Like
so.
there's the crack, and it's still kind of enlarged a little bit, but it's smoking
Yeah.
right through it. Need a little touch up here in a second, but
And
it's not an issue.
for the most part, they've been smoking really great. Like I said, I think we've smoked through 8 or 9 of them between the 2 of us.
Give me one more number 1.
And they are harder to find, but I always keep them in stock when I can. Is LFD double hairless.
The double hair.
Right now, I got them little chiselettos. But
Dude, so on
Yeah,
the
enjoy it.
chiseletto that you gave me before I left with my Arkansas fishing trip, I smoked that on the road.
yeah,
The minute I left, it was like 10 a.m. I lit it up on the road, and I loved it.
they're really good.
The little chiselettos, and it was the first. It's the second chisel I've ever smoked,
Yeah.
and I like a deep V cut, and it's really hard to get a chisel in a V cut. I don't know if any of y'all ever tried that. It was ridiculous. Driving 80 miles an hour. Don't do this at home, folks. Driving down the road, holding the steering wheel with my knee, trying to cut a chisel. It was a lot of
And
fun.
the thing I love about the chisels is you take the wide edge, press it, it'll snap that cap. And you can just pick the end off. You don't
Now-
have to cut.
Now you tell me.
I thought I told you.
No, that's okay. I figured it out. I like a deep V. You can't go wrong with one. It's a good one. So,
What's
let's.
some of your number 1s at the moment?
Okay. Okay. Well, we talked about number 1 right now for sure is the My Father Antilles. Got a lot of spice to it. It's got that sun-grown tobacco. I've always loved My Father's bands. The bands are really, really pretty.
They got some of the prettiest
That's
ones.
another one of our kind of factors in our ranking is the presentation.
Yeah.
The stick itself, the band. You know, I've always said My Father takes that time to put in really pretty cigar bands. And there's one of 2 ways that goes. They either dedicate their money towards the bands and their terrible sticks, not necessarily My Father, but some companies. And then some companies, if they spend that amount of time on their band, their cigars
Putting
have
it
to
on
be,
a good
yeah.
cigar.
And then they always, like, I know lots of guys hate double bands, right?
Yeah.
I've always loved that My Father puts that ribbon tag on the foot. And that's, to me, it's just that extra touch. Their boxes are beautiful. So the Antilles box is one of my favorites.
Very pretty.
My second, another one of my number 1s is going to be the Monte Cristo Espada. I absolutely love the Espada. I'm a huge Monte Cristo fan. Matter of fact, I actually bought this in your shop when you first opened up, and it's a Monte Cristo carry case.
Bright yellow. So you can't
Bright
lose
yellow
it.
because I can't leave it because I will forget everything. I would lose my head if it wasn't attached to my shoulders, but that's okay. And then right now will always hold a number 1 spot in my heart, and I'm heartbroken because I'm having trouble like getting back to that torpedo shape, trying to find those because it's difficult. And it is the Monte Cristo Media Noche in the torpedo shape, and we smoked that back in March, April or March or April, and just blew me away. Just absolutely blew me away. So those are my top 3 right now that I try to keep on hand. We've got a few of those Media Noches. We have 1 more left each. When I bought them in like a 10 pack. stay off the cigar bids because you will spend way more money than you need. But I did get some good prices on some good sticks, a couple of others that I really liked as well.
Good place to find some testers. If
Yeah,
you want to buy a box or can't find them locally.
Yeah, and then like if you don't want to go to a big cigar shop and pay the expensive retail price, Cigar Bids is great if you can get in there and kind of keep on, and it's a bid site, so you just got to keep playing the game. So, kind of switching gears here. When did you actually get the idea to open up a cigar shop? How did that come about?
So, I've been running the store with the parents for going on 6 years now. I've been smoking cigars for about 7 years, on and off. And probably about 3 years into it, I decided I enjoyed cigars, and I enjoyed smoking them. I talked to some guys around town that enjoyed them. I thought, why not give the cigars a chance in the shop? Started off with a little acrylic countertop humidor, had 9 cigars in it, and did so well out of that little case that within like a month or two I bought a stand-up humidor, and about 6 months later I bought a big old cabinet.
The big double door French style.
So now we're up to 3 double doors, 2 of the smaller ones,
2 of the single doors,
and
then
just rocked on from there, and then realized that I had porch upstairs. We both smoked up there quite often, but realized there was anywhere around here for guys, normal guys, blue collar guys, to just sit down
well, I mean,
and smoke a cigar and talk.
there's like there's a dive bar downtown, but it's a lot of cigarettes. And they smoke cigarettes inside. People are eating, and it's kind of a loud, noisy, and that's a great place to grab a beer and sit up, hang out with the guys. But if you're wanting a calm atmosphere to be able to smoke and relax,
I didn't want somewhere where you had to go dress up.
For sure.
Feel like you're out of place if you're wearing
blue jeans,
stand-up jeans and a shirt. So that was the idea behind it. So we've had it open almost a month now. We finished up the 1st of June.
Yeah, you talking your lounge?
Yeah, the lounge.
It's been going at the cigar shop now for what? 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years, yeah.
So it's doing great.
I remember, was super happy when this shop opened up because the only place you could get cigars anywhere near Jefferson is you had to drive 45 minutes to Shreveport. And if any of you are from around Peace, Texas, that Shreveport area, you understand why you're very hesitant to drive to Shreveport at times. It is what it is.
Most of the cigar shops over there are not in the nicest part of town.
Exactly. Or you had to drive to Longview, which wasn't necessarily a problem. But their humidor rooms at the time, there was 2 rooms, and they were expensive. They were large.
Oh, yeah.
It would take you 45 minutes in each room to roll through and figure out what they had. And so it was super expensive. Their retail prices are okay, but they were a little expensive. Hard to justify, especially I'm married, so it's hard to justify to my wife. I'm gonna go spend $150 every other week buying cigars.
Not to mention $90 in gas.
Yeah, $90 in fuel. Half a tank there, half a tank back, or whatever. So when you opened up here, I was super excited, and I remember watching the progress, and I was just absolutely happy, excited for you. And then you had told me that you were gonna swap everything around and make a lounge, and you had shot. We discussed that last October in 2023, and
it's been an ongoing conversation for a while.
Well, you had started with the outdoor lounge, which was great for the 2 months during the spring and 2 months in the fall, and we still smoked out there, and a lot of guys did. Just during the summertime, it got kind of rough, and you know, it kind of weather permitting, and you know,
Especially this year, it's been raining for the last 9 months.
I tell you what, I loved the outdoor lounge. So in the mornings when I would get up and go on shift, I'd jump in my patrol vehicle, grab a stick or two from the from my humidor, go get a cup of coffee, check on, come sit down over here, and as the sun's coming up, smoke a cigar, get my wind's blowing over the cactuses outside.
Barrel.
And so, you know, in the mornings, smoking a cigar, getting my mind right, getting that transfer from my private personal life to the job. Those of you in law enforcement, fire, EMS, you understand, like there's a transition time that's needed to start and to get off. And so that cup of coffee and a smoke out here at your lounge gave me the opportunity to get my mind right, get myself squared away and ready for the day. So I always appreciated your outdoor lounge because it was open to members anytime, day or night, whatever time. Just kind of be respectful, clean up your mess.
Yeah. No, it worked out really well, but it's nice to have a place to smoke, weather permitting or not.
Yeah, it's absolutely downpouring outside. We wouldn't be doing this video. So
Hold under an umbrella.
we talked about how it came about. I'd like to know what's on the block here in the next couple of months. Like, what are your dreams? What's going on? You know, we were talking about your grand opening and coming up soon. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're gonna do a little grand opening. It'll be next Saturday. It's coming Saturday, the 13th of July. We got a couple guys from the Honduran cigar family coming in.
Hell yeah.
A little company out of Dallas who've been carrying their stuff for 6-9 months now.
Yeah, dude,
So
they have really, really good sticks for
Yeah.
such a, what do you call them, boutique brand?
Yeah,
Because they're the
boutique
smaller.
brand,
I
yeah.
hate that name.
It's so I hate it.
It's so, forgive
sounds
me, feminine.
Yeah.
It sounds frou-frou, but dude, I'm here to tell you, I really love those small company brands.
Yeah.
The like Ohana Nui and their Pulse or their Left Hand Cigar, Warfighters. Dude, I love Warfighter cigars.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they have from Connecticut all the way up to Maduros and everything in between. From their budget line, I hate saying budget because it's not a budget stick per se. It's $5.50 a stick, man, and it's a Toro.
Yeah.
It's a Toro, but it's called the
It's a good
Dumpster
size.
Fire, man. Come on,
Great little
man.
band on it.
Their night shift is really cool. It's all blacked out with like night vision green. It's just great sticks, great company, veteran owned, veteran operated. Just awesome to have in the shop. Awesome to smoke. They hand out a lot of free merch. Got a patch, and it's a blue line patch. It says Warfighter Cigars on it. It's on my patrol bag in my vehicle. So I love them. I love their company. I love what they're doing. And then Ohana Nui, man, kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not brand new, but like
They've been around for like 3 or 4 years now. But yeah, one of the reps, Doug, stopped by one day. And we talked for probably an hour and a half about all their stuff, and it took me a couple months to get things squared away. But I've been real happy with their cigars since I started carrying them.
dude, I just think it's awesome that you being a small shop and other small shops are working together. And these are good sticks. They're not well known, but they're like that hidden gem.
Oh yeah,
You know,
they smoke up there with the best of them.
yeah, without a doubt. The classic names, Arturo Fuente, Liga Privada, hell, even Monte Cristo. I'm a huge Monte Cristo fan. And the Ohana Nui Pulse and the Left Hand Cigar is up there.
Yeah.
It's hard to compare because they're each great in their own way. You gotta love an Arturo Fuente for its vintage taste, but Ohananui, Warfighter, 262. Dude, they're coming out and they're hitting hard.
Oh, yeah.
They're making a name. I'm happy. Happy.
Yeah, I've started seeing Warfighter in more shops over the
Dude,
last year. So
Your shop was the very first place I ever saw Warfighter. And it was like a year before I saw Warfighter anywhere else. And I'm talking like shops that have, $3.6 million worth of stock inside their storage room and inside their humidor room. Never found a Warfighter. Like, you couldn't travel as far as Texarkana, Longview, Shreveport, Dallas, maybe, because they're up and around Dallas anyway, right?
no, Warfighter's out of Houston.
Houston.
Yeah.
That's Ohananui's out of Dallas. Yeah. I couldn't find it because I would always stop, grab a night shift, grab a dumpster fire. Even their little field packs, their Minutemen field pack.
I love those.
Dude, their little Corona shorties. 25, 30-minute smoke when you just want to burn something and get on.
Great when you don't have time to sit around for an hour and a half. Yeah, I carry a pack of those around in my pocket half the time, so you never know when you're gonna have a chance.
For sure, I agree. I carry 10s, but I also carry the Minutemen packs in my patrol bag. It's real simple because keep a lighter, small little cheap cutter. When I catch a lunch break, my hour lunch break, slam something quick, get out there on the lake, out there deep and off in the woods, and I'll smoke a cigar on my lunch break, and then I'm ready to roll back in.
Yeah.
Always got to find a little time. And then, and those Warfighters do those little small Coronas. You get halfway through one, and I get a call. I got to throw it down. I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Because, throwing this one down right now would be a heartbreak. Even though this is like $7, bro.
Yeah, you still feel bad about it.
Yeah, because there's an hour, 45 minutes left on this stick. So, we talked about how you got started. But I want to ask you a couple of questions a little further back. So, y'all came to Jefferson about 6 years ago now? 7 years?
Yeah.
Because y'all got here about the same time my wife and I moved up here. Savannah and I moved up here because I went to work for the local police department. How did y'all get to Jefferson? Maybe start from how you got, how it all happened.
Yeah, so my parents went to ETBU for college back in the day, and so they were familiar with the area. And when I got out of high school, we ended up moving from Victoria, where I grew up, down in South Texas. Moved to College Station for a couple of years with thoughts of going to college there. Ended up doing that. Ended up working at a summer camp in Bethany, Louisiana, part of the Baptist church system there. And did that for a couple summers. My parents ended up, my sister went into the military, so she was out of the house. Nothing holding them to College Station. They thought they'd move a little closer to where I was, but they wanted to stay in Texas. So they moved to Longview and then ended up getting a little shop in Linden. And when I left the camp, they had a house here in Jefferson, but their shop was still in Linden. And made the decision to move here. So started that up. Said 6 years ago, 7 years. So,
And like I said, in the last 4 years, 5 years, we've known each other. We've talked many times about how you had gone to the fire academy and you had become a fireman.
Yeah.
What made you want to go to the fire academy?
I always wanted to. It was never something that I had planned on growing up. It was never on the docket. But being in College Station, A&M has one of the top fire academies in the nation and in the world, from what I've been told. I thought, being a firefighter would be cool. Get to help people out. It's, one of those jobs that some people dream about, some people don't. I thought it was cool.
Sure.
And so I went through an EMT class there and their fire academy. graduated out of that. Just didn't end up panning out in the long run, but brought me here in the end. So
It's all
works
according to a
out.
plan of some sort.
exactly. So
Man, I get it. I get it. You know, I grew up down in Nacogdoches, Texas. Uh, so growing up in a small community outside of Nacogdoches, a little place called Appleby, Texas. It's like 724 people in that little community. Everybody's mother is my second mother. And so that being so small of a community, my family was really close with all the local law enforcement. My godfather, my uncle, is, or at the time and is now, a deputy for the local sheriff's department. And so like I grew up with my dad being really good friends with all the state troopers, all the DPS troopers, all the local deputies, members of our church that were local PD. I was surrounded by law enforcement. And, I remember in the third grade, they asked us to get up there at the front of the class and talk about what we were going to be when we grew up. You know, kids are up there, professional baseball players, or I'm going to be the president. I'm going to be an astronaut. And my mother, who was a teacher in the same school I went to, and she was a third grade teacher, so she taught next door to my teacher, Miss Carolyn Woods. Sweetest little old lady ever. Still love her. She's the sweetest little woman. She asked me to get up there and tell them what I wanted to be, and I told them all I was going to be a sheriff. What I meant at the time, I guess, was going to be police. I wanted to be a sheriff's deputy. And so, of course, to the worry of my mother, she tried everything she could to keep me from being police as I grew up. She, go do something else. To this day, every anniversary of the year I signed on, my mother always calls and asks if I'm ready to turn in my application to seminary. Every year I have to remind her that I love this job. But Savannah and I, or my wife and I, moved up to Jefferson because it was kind of the same situation. When I graduated, nobody wants to hire a rookie. No one wants to hire a guy fresh out because there's too much to teach you and there's too much going on right now to be having to worry about watching your back, wiping your nose, and teaching you the ropes. So then I drew a circle around Nacogdoches and I applied at every agency within 50 miles, a circle around Nacogdoches, and when none of that panned out, I applied at every agency within 100 miles, and I was so close to giving up and going back to the oil field that I was just done. I was like, this wasn't for me, and I got a call from Jefferson Police Department, and they asked me to come interview, and I did, and we moved up 3 months later and never looked back, and here we are. So that's kind of the premise, really, of this channel. A couple of guys sitting, smoking cigars, hanging out, talking. This is the Guardian's Lounge, where myself and Harrison interview guys and girls that are service members of this country, whether it's fire, EMS, law enforcement, military, our teachers, our linemen, all the people who are of service to their community, to their state, to this country. And so that's kind of where we're headed with this. This being episode 1, we're still trying to figure out the bugs and the so-ons and so forths. So, give us, be gentle. So, we spent the last at least 7 months for sure smoking 4 or 5 times a week and BSing. So a lot of this podcast or this channel is going to be that as well, just us BSing. We don't get deep into politics too much. At least we're not going to publicly. Publicly. we don't get into hot button topics. We're not going to do that. I have to give one disclaimer before we carry on. Any and all statements made by me, Harrison, or any other person on this channel are not the opinions of any legal law enforcement agency, sheriff's department, police department, constable's office, so forth. They are solely the opinions of either myself, Harrison, or whoever else is speaking. And those opinions may not be shared by anyone else involved. Disclaimer over.
Just gotta get it out.
Just in case the sheriff is watching. So, we're about 2/3 in. And I could have swore I tasted just a little bit of change. The spice has kind of dropped out of it, and it has kind of mellowed a little bit. It's more to that smooth. It's got like a sweetness to it now, but not like a sugary sweet. But it's lost that sharp, cedary, peppery spice as it kind of mellows down in. I've always loved a cigar that punches you in the teeth from the very beginning, and then slowly eases out to like a very low rhythm finish.
Yeah. It's got a very kind of almost nutty note to it, but not like, it's almost like you ever chewed on the shell of a peanut, instead of the peanut itself.
Yeah,
it's kind of got that
taste
to it.
Yeah, it's not like the peanut itself, but it's got a little nutty taste to it.
It's still a really good cigar.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So, right now, with it being 2/3, I'm going to get another bottle of water, and we're going to reconvene after a big thank you to our sponsors. Today's video is sponsored by CAO Outfitters Company, custom leather and all sorts of outdoor goods, and the front porch located in historic downtown Jefferson, right next door to the Bigfoot Cigar Lounge where we are currently hosting our video. A big thank you to the folks at the front porch and Harrison for allowing us to host this video in his lounge. So, forgive us, tornado sirens going off, wind whipping around. We had to go check it out. We do have a tornado touchdown a couple miles east of us in another county. Looks like the Big B is putting up a good fight. So we're going to try to wrap this up rather quickly. So you started off smoking pipes and started smoking into some Gurkha cigars, and then you started off with your Connecticut's and moved into more of the Maduro, and that's kind of where you hang out.
Yeah. I'll drip down a little every once in a while, and you're more of the sun-grown stuff. I'll dip into it. I enjoy them, but my comfort zone is dark Maduros for the most part.
I mean, I love them. I love a dark Maduro, even though Oscuro Maduros are good.
Yeah.
But I do like something like midday, noon to 4,
Yeah.
with a little bit of spice, a little bit of body. Nothing too heavy. Yeah, pick me up, because I feel like when I smoke a heavy Maduro, it gets real relaxed. I'm ready for bed. It's a great end of the night stick. And you'll hear us talk about that a lot, as we have like a good midday stick, a good morning stick, and a good end of the evening stick.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we hang out around, and we kind of mesh well together there at the very end. You know, nights when we're smoking together, we're usually smoking an end of the night stick. So, let me consult my notes here, because we've been outside running around. So, while you were in the academy for fire, I have to assume it's kind of close to like law enforcement. It's an extended training period, and you guys are working together 5-6 days a week. You're there together 8, 9, 10 hours a day.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a funny story from the academy that you want to tell?
So, there's a story on myself. I've never been the most athletic of individuals. little heavy set.
I could feel that.
And so we all get there on the first day. We're all hanging out outside the bays, and our instructor comes out and goes, "All right, we're gonna go for a little walk around the grounds and show you what's what." And so we start out walking, and it was the academy I went through was very paramilitary in the way, that's how he described it, so it was a lot of marching, double time, running. So we started out on a walk, so we're gonna go on a short walk.
I love that.
Shit turned into an 8-mile run the first day.
Oh God.
And I'm talking run. It was not no brisk walk around the place. I was puking my guts. I was dying.
No warning, no
nothing. I was like, all right, we're going to go see what's what. And we ran around. And if you have to go by that complex sometime, it is massive. And
I've seen it.
Yeah. I went on like an 8-mile run around that place. I was sucking eggs. I threw up at the end. There was a bunch of us just dying. None of us were ready for that.
Yeah.
That was how it started.
Started on a great note.
It was great.
Started on a great note.
It was a fun time.
Do you remember any lessons that they taught you that kind of carry over into today?
Yeah.
Like in your life now?
Biggest one, and my class was not a great class. We were known for being troublemakers, and we had some idiots in there. But
one in every crowd.
Yeah, we ended up. One of our instructors worked for the Dallas Fire Department. He was a sergeant or something there. I don't remember. But he took us up there, and they have a course that they have set up, and the course is based on firefighters they've lost in line of duty. And sorry. It was a very emotional course to go through. It just taught me a lot of respect for those guys,
I get it. 100%. There's nothing like in either profession the memories.
Yeah.
That you didn't even know those guys, but you knew them because they're standing in the same place you're standing. They went through the exact same thing you did.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the love for that job.
Yeah.
And like, I'm here to tell you folks, I'm a cop. I would not, running into a burning building, I think it's just absolutely insane. And those dudes do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm completely fine. I'm okay. That's not me.
Yeah.
But mad respect for those men. And, we're post 9/11. We came in, we were kids. So we didn't fully understand. So we grew up in that area of the memories of the men and women. And so, mad respect for firemen. Mad respect. I mean, I get it. So out here in Jefferson, there is a portion of the highway that's in memory of Trooper Scott Burns. And he was a local in this area, and I've met lots of his family. And he was a trooper that was shot and killed on the Texas DPS trooper who was shot and killed in the line of duty. And I drive by it every day, and it's hard not to get a little emotional about it. Because, in these professions, when your ticket's punched, it's punched. And, you're going down swinging, and you're going out fighting, but these guys gave it their all. Like, some give all, or
some give all and all give some. Or
all give some, and then some gave all. And, you know, I was lucky enough that there was a gentleman who was a deputy in Nacogdoches County that I knew growing up. And when I was coming to Jefferson to interview, was the morning that he was killed on Highway 59. And his name was Deputy Brad Jimerson. His nickname was Boo Boo. Yeah, big guy, great guy. And it was early in the morning. There was a trooper on one side, and a trooper on the other, on either end of the highway, on the shoulders, reds and blues going, and they were clearing debris out of the highway. And from my understanding, everything was set within the proper precautions, and a drunk hit him in the middle of the highway, and he flung his body into oncoming traffic, and he was hit another 2 times. Once he was dragged, one car he was dragged, and that vehicle he was dragged by was a high school kid going to school that morning. And they looked underneath that kid's truck in that high school parking lot and found pieces of Deputy Jimerson's uniform. I keep that newspaper clipping cut, and it is in my Texas Penal Code book.
Yeah.
Because he was one of the reasons why. And it reminds me, every time I open that book to check out or look, see, you know, make sure I have the right charges, I see it and it reminds me, today could be my last day on the job, and it keeps you square.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. We all, whether you knew them or you didn't,
Yeah.
you feel that connection to the memory of those guys. I get it. To bring it on a lighter note. So I went to the police academy at Angelina Community College in Lufkin, Texas. Would have been 2018, 2019, 2017. And we started a month late. Don't know. We started a month late. And so we were doing 6-7 days a week. It was a lot of fun. We started in February and I graduated in June. And I had one instructor. And there's always one instructor in everybody's academy. It doesn't matter. They're a riot. And for the sake of, I didn't ask him if I could tell his story, I'm not going to give his name. But he was an old man. Dude had to be like 85 when Moses crossed the Red Sea. He was an old man. And he worked for Arizona and Phoenix in like the 60s and 70s, right? And he did a lot of undercover work in Phoenix. Well, at the time, too much smoking, too much talking, not enough smoking. But at the time, they're having a lot of robberies at all the gas stations around Phoenix. So his chief put together a squad of guys, and their whole job was to put it in to all the robberies. So picture this ancient old man sitting up at the front of the class. It's like, yeah. So what we did was we grabbed our shotguns. Oh shit! Grabbed our shotguns, threw on parkas, and we hid in the ice machines.
Oh, good Lord.
He said the old ice machines were sitting in there with the shotguns and our parkas, and he said you'd hear the alarm go off, you'd bust out of that. Get on the ground! And he said, you know, and that old man, not to make light of it, he said, there was a couple of them who'd pick that gun up at you. And he said, you'd have to, you asked him, afterwards, after that funny story, we all giggled and laughed. It's terrible, but it is what it is. If you didn't know, cops, firemen, EMS, law enforcement, military, fucking sense of humor, it is what it is. I apologize. I know it's insensitive, but we don't care. We asked him, it's like, so did that ever affect you at all? He's like, no, man, it's part of the job. Man picks a gun up at you, you got to make a decision. He said, you got a family to go home to. So you got to do your job. Then 10 out of 10 would recommend. 0 out of 10 will never go again. If I lose my license for whatever reason, I'm done. I'm not going back. That was the hardest. Dude, the academy, and some people will tell you like it ain't nothing. But dude, it's not just the physical. It's like, I'm not in great shape. I wasn't in great shape then. But it was a combination of both the mental demand and the physical demand and the longevity. It's every day PT, classroom, and it's no breaks. It was just running. You got a 15-minute break in our academy. If you left the room, we got a 10-minute break every other hour or so. And if you left the room, it was 15 push-ups at the door. As soon as you crossed the threshold of the door, it was 15 push-ups. And they didn't care. Like, if you didn't want to go on a break, you sat in your same chair. So, like, guys that have been in law enforcement, I know Texas DPS has a really hard training academy. So does the Texas Game Wardens.
Oh, yeah.
So each one of us all have these stories, and all can kind of, jive with, we each had our own experiences in these difficult situations.
Oh, yeah.
So, checking my notes again, we're going to end this out with some up-and-comings, whether it's for this lounge, or the channel, or the podcast, and wrap it all up with our final thoughts on Stick, though I'm sure you already know how we feel about it. So, I want to open it up to you, some up-and-coming, some ideas that you've had for your lounge and your shop.
So, like I said, we got a grand opening coming up next weekend. And then in the future, we're going to do some different, I've been kicking around ideas for the last few months, but we're going to do a pipes and pints night. Bring a couple beers, sit down. For people that don't know how to smoke a pipe, have some little lessons on how to smoke a pipe, how to pack it. There's a lot of intricacies in pipe smoking that you don't realize until you get into it. And,
there's definitely a correct way to smoke a pipe.
Yeah. So we're going to do that, and we'll have probably some game nights or, maybe some, smoke through a certain brand on Saturday or something. So just follow the Facebook page. We'll be posting all of that on there.
Bigfoot Cigar Company. Bigfoot Cigar Co.
Yeah.
And of course, the link will be in the description. Same with our sponsors. The Front Porch does not have a Facebook.
They have a Facebook.
They have a
we
Facebook
don't have
and
any
Instagram.
website.
Yeah, no websites yet. So we'll throw the link on there for the Front Porch. Awesome little store. Knickknacks, everything you need. Lots of antique pieces. Got a lot of yard metal.
Yep.
Giant ass armadillo with a Texas on it. Wife already said. And there's a Bigfoot for sale.
Oh yeah.
We will have some videos involving Bigfoot and let y'all know what's going on there. I'm going to eventually will give you a tour of the humidor and the shop and the lounge. However, if you're interested, go to Facebook. You're on Instagram too.
No, just
No. Yeah.
I get an Instagram one of these days.
And it's not worth it. And take a look at the humidor room, the shop, the lounge. It's a great little place for us blue-collar guys and us middle-class folks to hang out and smoke where we feel comfortable. Because you can show up in your work clothes or a three-piece suit, and you're welcome either way. some up and comings on the channel. We're going to try to stick to 2 interviews a month of individuals whose acts of service to either their country, their state, or their community really have either impressed or inspired us. I think our next couple are going to involve some military and some law enforcement, some fire guys, just kind of getting them in. We're going to continue to do one more, a third video as far as a Cigar of the Month club through Bigfoot Cigar Company. I'm a member of the lounge here, and I have the opportunity that once a month he gets the Cigar of the Month in, and I get 1 free stick that is the Cigar of the Month. So we like to sit and smoke them when they come in and rank them, see what we think. Now, for the last several months, Harrison and I have been doing a whiskey of the month as well, just kind of privately. And we started out with a budget of $50 a month to buy a bottle of whiskey, and we trade off and drink and see what we thought of it, just trying to kind of elevate, our knowledge and find good whiskeys for good prices. And so we're thinking we'll bring that to the channel as well. Just a review, a description. Hey, I know there's tons of videos online of budget whiskeys, or try these or try that. We're not good enough to be pairing whiskeys and cigars, but we're going to be drinking it anyway, so we might as well just record it. From there, I also want to remind you that once a month there's a Bible study held here at the lounge. We do not record those. I just don't feel it's appropriate.
Yeah.
My political and religious viewpoints are my own and are private. However, those that are in the Jefferson area and who are interested in joining the Bible study, it's called Sticks and Stones, and it is led by one of our former game wardens here in Marion County. So you could always message us, either jump on the Bigfoot Cigar Co's Facebook page and message Harrison. Linked as well is going to be my company's CAO Outfitters company, and it's custom leather work and other outdoor equipment. So you can always message me there. Folks, we really appreciate your time watching. I know this being 001, and we've had lots of technical issues. You saw the lights blinking. We've had to get up 3 or 4 times, whether it be tornado sirens or yard art blowing across the front porch. So we appreciate y'all hanging with us. The Big B is giving it the best it can, but it looks like we're going to continue to sit here and smoke cigars. I think that's about it.
Yeah, some upcoming events in Jefferson.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing for the next couple months, but October is going to be full for us. I know we have our big motorcycle rally in town. It's the Burn Run.
Benefiting Camp I Am Still Me. The benefit is for children who are burn victims. And it's an opportunity for these children to go to camps with other children that are burn victims, and gives them a chance to feel like children.
Yeah.
Just be among people who understand who they are and why. Because we all know children can be just mean. But we always, whether it's the local law enforcement and the local shops, have always benefited, or always been a benefactor to. They do a big motorcycle raffle every year. That's always really cool. They bring out live bands. Something like 3,000 motorcycles show up. There's like 30, 40,000 people in town. It's an excellent time. Always, always, always would recommend, if you enjoy small, quiet, little Texas towns, historic Jefferson, Texas is a great place to come and hang out. We're situated between Lake of the Pines and Caddo Lake, in between Texarkana and Marshall. Great little area, great little place to hang out. Lots to do, lots to see.
There's always something going on.
There's always something going on, and if not, you could always come and smoke with us.
Oh yeah, we'll be here.
We'll be here. Well, folks, again, my name is Brett Smith. I'm your host. It's my man Harrison Miller. He is the owner and operator of Bigfoot Cigar Company, and we do appreciate your time. Thank you, and y'all be careful. All right, went pretty well. Can't keep my cigar lit.
We're talking to him.
I know.
30 seconds to first turn.